Hey, it's Dead Guy Cardboard. I have a YouTube sports card lingo video. I wanted to go over some common acronyms, just some general slang and lingo that is being thrown around on YouTube and different card forums. For many, these will be terms you are familiar with, but for others that are new to the hobby or newer to the hobby, I think these definitions will help you out. These are not in like a alphabetical order, but there's definitely a rhyme and reason to how I kind of go through these different terms. The first one is TPGs, which stands for third-party graders. Third-party graders consist of PSA, BGS, and SGC. So when you hear someone say like, "Oh, I'm going to send it to a third-party grader," or "It needs a third-party grader's opinion," these are grading card services. They grade the condition of the card. So like the first one I mentioned is PSA, stands for Professional Sports Card Authenticator. This is the biggest TPG in the hobby. It's also the oldest, and I think in many ways the most reputable. Another one is SGC. This stands for Sports Card or Sports Guarantee Corporation. SGC is typically known for grading vintage cards that are pre-war cards like Tito 06 cards. And the other big TPG is BGS. It stands for Beckett Grading Services. Yes, it's the same Beckett that does the price guides that we're all used to seeing from the 90s and 80s and today too. Beckett or BGS is mostly known for grading modern cards typically. A lot of people use Beckett for grading autograph cards like this card here. And I go into much greater detail about these three companies in another video I did, which I'll link below. I highly suggest you check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about these companies. Alright, so some other lingo you often hear is people say subgrades. So this is mostly referred to a BGS card, Slab. Subgrades are basically these four little grades. For centering, edges, corners, and surface, whatever these four grades are, average out to be the overall grade. So this is actually a pretty unique thing for Beckett's, SGC, and PSA. They do not show the subgrades, so you don't really know how these cards got a PSA 5 or SGC 5. But Beckett kind of explains where the card got this grade from. Another term you often hear in regards to at least Beckett or BGS is quad 9.5s. You hear that a lot, like on eBay. Like this is a true gem mint copy. It's all 9.5s. So what that usually means is that these subgrades, there can be no subgrade below a 9.5. So this one has a surface of a 9. So this would not be a quad 9.5, meaning quad, meaning 4. However, this one has all. Well, there's a 10. This would also, you can consider this a quad 9.5 because there's all of the subgrades are a 9.5 and above. And so some people will also say this is a true gem mint because there's no subgrade that says 9, and 9 to Beckett means mint. But like you can see here, this has 10, 10, 9.5, 9, but that averaged out to be 9.5, even though that surface got a 9. So a lot of times when people are trying to cross grade Beckett into PSA, they look out for the subgrades, and if all the subgrades have at least a 9.5, there's a fairly good chance that they'll grade out a PSA 10, whereas this card probably won't because it's a 9 surface. There's certainly no guarantee though. Anyway, that's what a quad 9.5 usually does mean. Another common Beckett term, this is not going to be all about Beckett and BGS, but is black label. Black label is when all four subgrades get at least get all 10s, so all the subgrades are a 10. This is deemed a pristine 10, and it comes with this black label instead of instead of the gold label like I showed. Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough to get a black label BGS card graded. And it does carry a huge premium. I'm not going to go on the whole argument about what is more valuable, a PSA Gem Mint 10 or a Beckett black label. It really depends on the card. Anyway, another common phrase you hear is Lighthouse holder. This refers to this newer PSA slab or case. So this is what's they consider this Lighthouse holder, this new little logo. Whereas the older PSA cards I think graded anytime before 2017, I want to say, they don't have the Lighthouse holders. So you see this doesn't have anything right there. Okay, and then another phrase you hear a lot is the flip. So what is the flip? The flip is generally what this little area is called, or the label. So this is the flip for Beckett. This is the flip for SGC. So this is like the area where they show the grade. Then there's flipping. So flipping means essentially buying a card and selling it relatively shortly after to make a quick profit. So you're just quickly flipping over the card to make a quick buck. And sometimes you can hold on to a year or two, and I guess that would be considered flipping if you're hoping that it's going to go up in value in a couple years. That's what a lot of people do with Bowman Chrome cards, the early rookies of cards. And then another common phrase you hear is pop report. This means population reports. It's a population can be found on PSA, Beckett, and SGC's website. So if you go into PSA's website as well as Beckett and SGC, and you type in pop report like on Google, you'll find on their website this long list of where you can look up how many cards are graded for a particular card. So I can look up how many 1933 Gaudi Melots have been graded by PSA, and it might say like 100. So that will tell me, okay, there's been about 100 graded of this card, and you can also look up how many PSA 5s have been graded of a Melot. It might say 30. And you can do the same thing with SGC. I can look up this card and see how many were graded by SGC. And then you'll hear combined pop. So combined pop usually refers to when someone like myself, I often say combined population. When I look up what is the combined population graded of this card in the PSA database and the SGC database of other Melot cards graded from SGC. And so let's say it's 100 were graded by PSA and 85 were graded by SGC. So there's a combined pop report of 185 Melots graded. You could also include all three. I often don't include Beckett in the combined pop because Beckett normally doesn't grade too many vintage cards, so I just don't want to spend the time looking that up. All right, another common phrase is slab. I think I actually already even said slab in this video. So slab refers to basically this. It's the actual case. We call these slabs. This is a slab. It's the piece of plastic that encases the cards. Just another way of saying a graded card. Now you're going to hear the phrase slab can too a lot. So slab can stands for slab candidates. That was coined by Nolan of Alico 3. These are basically cards that look good enough to submit to a third-party grader like PSA or SGC or Beckett. These are candidates, good candidates. They have good condition. They look like they're well-centered or sharp corners. They look like they could be gradable. Like for example, let's see, this card I want to get graded eventually because it's a slab can. It's got really nice corners. Don't see any chipping. it just looks like a good candidate to submit to PSA. I think it could come back at a 10, at the very least, a PSA 9. Okay, raw. You hear raw a lot. So a raw card is simply a card that is not graded. So, you know, this is a raw card. There's no, it's not in a PSA slab or SGC slab or Beckett slab. Okay, and then another one is TTMs. So that stands for through the mail. Oftentimes you hear TTMs, it means through the mail autographs. So when people are showing off, oh, I sent my card to Jose Canseco and he mailed it back to me autographed. And so there's a lot of people that collect TTM autographs that send out a bunch of cards to different athletes. They get their address somehow, and it's not a guarantee you'll get the card back or the photograph back autograph, but a lot of times these sports stars will return them after a couple months or even after a year or two. Okay, another phrase is RPA. RPA really just stands for Rookie Patch Auto. This seems to be a term most often used with basketball collectors, and I guess football collectors. But that's, yeah, basically it's become the premier auto to get, especially for basketball collectors. So, for example, the Exquisite Collection LeBron James RPA is pretty much the holy grail of LeBron James basketball cards. Carries much more weight than his Topps Chrome card. It's just a very rare card, and people really love a rookie card with a patch, meaning a piece of the player's sports garment on it, and it's autographed. Okay, XRC. This is kind of confusing. This really stands for Extended Rookie. So whenever people say Extended Rookie, that means essentially it is a player's rookie card. So generally speaking, when there are rookie cards that were sold, generally speaking, Extended Rookie is when a rookie card is sold in somewhat lesser quantity than a regular base sets. So it creates a situation where a player might have rookie cards in 2 different years. So, for an example, this is a 1986 Fleer Update Barry Bonds. Now, this is considered by many to be his extended rookie, his XRC, because he has several other cards from 1987 that people consider his rookie card. Now, why? I don't understand. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense, because this is his first appearance on a baseball card in his major league uniform, but the 87 cards from 87 are often considered also his rookie card. And another pretty famous example of an XRC is the 1984-85 Star Jordan card. This is really his first appearance on a basketball card in his Bulls uniform, but this is considered his XRC card because the Star cards were printed in limited quantity. I don't know if they were nationally distributed, but his rookie card is considered his 86 Fleer card, even though that card came out 2 years after Michael Jordan had already been in the league, and essentially 2 years after his first basketball card was produced. Okay, so now we're getting into kind of the nitty-gritty behind different ways of talking about cards that are inserted in factory sets and hobby boxes. And so inserts is something you hear a lot. So inserts are cards that are not part of a base set. They're usually its own subset and are usually far more scarce than base cards. Let's see, an example would be, this is an insert. So this is the 1998 Donruss Crusade Call to Arms. So these were found in, I believe came in Donruss Update packs. So this is not part of the base set. You cannot find like a non-shiny Call to Arms Barry Larkin card. This is just, these Call to Arms Crusade cards were insert cards, and they consisted of the star players at the time. So it's not, inserts are cards not part of the base sets. Then you get into parallels. So parallels are cards with the same design and numbering as the base cards, but feature a different design variation of the base card. You know, a popular example are the Topps gold cards they've been making for years. Here's some that I have. So if you look at, here's just a base 1998 Bowman Chrome. Then you could get into like, this is a parallel of that card, so it's a interstate base card. Here's an interstate refractor. You can't really see the shine. And then we have another parallel. This is just the normal refractor. And then you have the gold signature parallel. And then the gold anniversary refractor parallel. So there's like, what, 5 or 6 parallels to this one card. So that's an example of a parallel. And then, like I mentioned, refractor. So if you don't know what a refractor is, refractors came out, this technology came out in 1993 with the finest set. So this is what a refractor looks like. It has this rainbow looking reflection. Now the light's a little low in this room right now because the sun's setting, but you can see it's got a shiny reflection to it. Here's another example of one. And then there's many different ways. There's been many, I guess, new ways of doing refractors. There's the X-fractor. So this is an example of an X-fractor. It has a refractor finish to it, but also has this sort of boxy looking effect. And then there's the holy grail of refractors nowadays. They're the Superfractors. I don't have any in hand, but those are normally one-of-one cards. They're gold, and they usually have these circular refractor finishes to them, almost like a vinyl finish to it. Okay, so another phrase you hear a lot is short print. So short print are cards that have the same numbering of the base cards, but they usually have different photography of the player. So let's see, take this 2010 Topps Update, Cody Bellinger. This is his base card, and it says swinging. So this is just the normal, everyday base card of Cody Bellinger, and it's numbered US 50. Now he has 2 other short print cards. There is the high 5 variation, and then there's a even shorter printed card, which people refer to as the SSP, which is him pointing up. Now, all 3 of these cards have the US 50 designation on it. And yes, I guess you could consider these to be parallels as well. Okay, foil. Foil, when you hear foil, is just a way to describe the makeup of the card, how it's made. It has a foil finish. So think of it as like aluminum foil looking finish. So here's one of the more famous examples, the 1994 SP. You can see it doesn't quite have a shiny chrome-like finish, which I'll get into what a chrome card is. It's more of like a duller shine to it. Probably the most famous foil card is the 1993 SP Derek Jeter. I believe that was the first time they used foil cards, at least for an entire set. See if we can find another one. Yeah, here's another one from that same year. This is the Billy Wagner foil. So you can see it has a definitely different finish than chrome. So what's chrome? Chrome is a card. Here's an example of a chrome card. You see how it's a shinier looking finish to it compared to the foil. I don't know about shinier. It's like I guess the foil has a kind of a grainier looking finish, and this is a chrome example. So nowadays, the chrome version of a card is more valuable than the base card or the paper card. So I don't have any like 2000 17 Topps Update chrome cards. But this is just a paper card. There's no chrome finish to it. This has a chrome finish to it. But this 2000 chrome traded Miguel Cabrera is worth more than the normal base non-chrome version, which is typically true for most cards. The chrome is worth more than the normal paper. Okay, then we're getting into Tiffany. So you hear Tiffany a lot. If you don't know what Tiffany is, it's an early parallel set created by Topps in the 1980s. They were sold as factory sets. Factory sets meaning these were sets that you could buy the entire set in a big kind of long box typically. You wouldn't open these cards in packs. They would just all be in one set. You get the entire set together. But these Tiffany's cards were put in on a better card stock with extra gloss. So I can't tell too well, but these cards are very glossy compared. You can see the gloss a little bit compared to the base 87 Topps card. And then the backs typically are much brighter. So that's a Tiffany card. So you know it's a Tiffany card when the card stock looks well, a lot more premium. It usually has a lighter back, and you can see a much more glossy finish. But there's Topps Tiffany cards from, I think it's like 85 to like 1990 something. And they still do Tiffany cards sometimes here and there. Still, Topps does. All right, so now we're going to talk about kind of the lingo for describing a card's appearance. So you hear print flecks a lot. So print flecks is also known as, commonly referred to as print snow. They're basically print splotches. Looks like, well, I guess flecks of black snow, like when you have a printer at home that kind of messes up and smears or adds a little extra ink to your paper. I don't have one in hand, but here's an example I'll pop up where you can see it on the right of this Yaz rookie card. It's just a bunch of black splotching, little black flecks. Another term you hear often to describe a card and its defects is fisheyes. Fisheyes are circular dots that look, well, reminiscent of a fish's eye. You can see these typically in vintage cards, the older cards, the pre-war cards, or cards, really before like 1980. You see a lot of fisheyes in the 1960 Topps. So you can see it in this card. I'll pop up in the green section of this McCovey rookie card. Okay, now we'll get into kind of lingo for how you store your cards. So penny sleeves. This is a absolute must. So penny sleeves are these little tiny plastic sleeves you put on your card, right when you pull a nice card from a pack. And they're called penny sleeves because, I don't know if they're still a penny, but they were a penny. They're very cheap. But you use these penny sleeves and you put them in a rigid holder, like a Toploader. So here's an example of a Toploader. It's rigid, and if you look close enough, there's a penny sleeve inside the Toploader. So these are great for storing cards, storing lots of cards because they're thin, they'll protect your card. And then there's also Card Saver 1, another term you hear a lot. Card Saver 1s are a little more flimsy than a Toploader. These are typically used for submitting cards to grading companies. They like these over Toploaders because they're actually easier to pull out a card if you want to grade it. So this one does not have a penny sleeve, but this is not a valuable card. So it's just a lot easier to grab it out of the case than a Toploader. You'd have to really kind of struggle a bit to get it out, though it's not, and it's definitely not impossible. And I think the graded card companies like these better because they don't slip out and when shipped. But if you are going to ship a card in a top loader, I highly suggest you put it in a sleeve. This is like a... These little things are usually called team bags. Yeah, so this will prevent the card from slipping out. And then another phrase you hear a lot for storing cards are mags, also called one-touches. So this is a mag. They call it mags because they're essentially, well, there's a magnet right here, and it closes up with one touch. These are great because I think they present the card a lot better than top loaders. However, I would not recommend using these to store cards if you want to get a card graded. You have a card in really nice shape or it's very valuable, because sometimes when you're putting the card in here, it could get kind of wedged a bit when you're clamping it shut, and I don't know. I feel like these cards rattle around a lot, but that's just my opinion on it. Finally, to close out this video, you hear a lot about people referring to perfect fit sleeves. So these are perfect fit sleeves. These are sleeves that you put around your graded cards, your top loaders, whatever, and they're perfect because before perfect fit sleeves, cards are always really, in these wonky cases. So see how much excess plastic there is, and this just looks really nice. There's no excess plastic. So these are just great ways to store your cards. I mean, you can barely tell you even have a sleeve on here, a perfect sleeve. But I would highly recommend getting a perfect fit sleeve, or really any sleeve for that matter, because it will protect your card from getting scratched. Your graded cards from getting scratched. Okay, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little primer on sports card lingo. I know that was kind of a long video. If you have any questions on other lingo not mentioned in this video, feel free to ask me in the comments down below. And for more content like this, as always, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.